Good evening. My name is Jack Bowman, and tonight I want to talk about gun violence and mass shootings in the United States and what we can do to stop them. I want to start off just by sharing a quick story that most of you have heard but bears repeating. In 2017 in Las Vegas, Nevada, people were enjoying themselves during a country music festival when a gunman opened fire from a nearby hotel balcony, killing 58 people and injuring 413 more. The reason that I say this is because it's not an isolated incident. Since 2009, there have been 271 mass shootings in the United States, resulting in more than 1,500 deaths. Specifically, 486 of these deaths, which are 50 of these mass shootings, and 786 people who were wounded were at the hands of automatic or high-capacity weapons, including the Las Vegas shooting. High-capacity magazine weapons, that is. There's a relatively simple solution to this, but one that many states and the nation as a whole has not taken these steps to do, which is an automatic weapons ban, an assault weapons ban, a ban on weapons with high capacity magazines. There are reasons for this, right? And there's reasons that it would be the specific of a ban. The first is that it might not be feasible to ban the sale of firearms as a whole. Whether or not you agree with it, based on the Second Amendment, based on the culture the United States created around guns, it would be a massive undertaking to ban the sale of weapons as a whole. So it is a more small, reasonable step to ban high-capacity magazine weapons because there's no logical reason that one would need to own them. If you were going to defend your home, the only logical weapon that you would need would be a handgun with a smaller capacity magazine. Another reason for this ban is that a disproportionate number of people are killed when a high-capacity or assault weapon is used in a mass shooting. When assault weapons were used, 6 times more people were shot compared with shootings with other types of weapons. And when it comes to the effectiveness of bans like this, it has been tested and theorized about through studies through the Justice Department. In 2004, the U.S. Justice Department found that assault weapons bans led to jurisdictions reporting lower rates of these types of weapons being recovered at the scenes of crimes, and these rates were between 17 and 72%. Researchers also found that analyzing these bans, that they decrease the risk of mass shootings and casualties due to mass shootings. I'm going to ask you guys for a second just to imagine a future both with and without this ban. Without, things will continue the way that they are. There have been so many mass shootings that would have been preventable had the weapon that the shooter used not been available to them. This ban is not going to fix everything. There are lots of shootings that occur with non-assault weapons, non-high-capacity magazine weapons, and this is not going to correct that or fix the entire issue. However, by banning these particular weapons, you can keep them out of the hands of people who would be inclined to commit mass violence and therefore limit the damage that they can do. As crass as that sounds, if you can just keep the casualty count down in these incidents, that is a huge step forward from where we currently are. In a future without this restriction, we will continue to see events like Las Vegas. We will continue to see events where, tens, if not hundreds at points in the future, as this Las Vegas shooting could have been with 481 people injured, you could see these mass shootings continue to happen. In a future where these bans are implemented, it's not, as I said before, necessarily going to fix everything. There will still be shootings, there will still be violence, and there will still be death because that is the culture around guns that we have created in this country. However, events like Las Vegas will be much harder for a shooter to replicate because you just simply can't do as much damage with, for example, a handgun as you could with an AR-15 from a balcony. You just don't have as many bullets, can't fire as fast. It just keeps people safe. Even if it doesn't guarantee that this type of a violent event won't happen, it does reduce the likelihood of it being a massive casualty event. Now, this is not something that legislators are just going to choose to do. There are lots of states where gun rights are very important to they're very important to people who live in those states, and largely these are red states. But there are things you can do. The first thing is you can sign petitions, you can call your local representatives, you can call senators to have these types of motions voted on, put forward. They need to hear your voice. Politicians are pushed to do things when their constituents push for them, and unless we do that, then nothing's going to happen. The second thing that you can do is you can join organizations, whether it's through donation, through protest, to try to force the government to do the things that they haven't done yet, the common sense measures that can help prevent future casualties. Together, with the help of organizations that are already in place, it is definitely possible to imagine a future where assault weapons are banned and this type of mass casualty event is not nearly as common.